No era in American television history had the kind of cultural impact that the Black sitcom era did, from the 1970s through the 1990s. Over those 20 years, Black families saw themselves on screen for the first time as full, complex human beings. From poverty to wealth, from comedy to tragedy, every part of life played out in these shows. But behind the camera, behind the bright lights and polished scenes, there were scandals, betrayals, tragedies, and devastating endings. This is a story where what we saw on screen was only half of the truth. The real story was darker, more tragic, and far more unforgettable. When Good Times premiered in 1974, America was watching the day-to-day struggle of a Black family for the first time. The Evans family, living in a poor Chicago neighborhood, felt like a television version of real Black life. James was a hard-working man stuck in low-wage jobs. Florida was strong, deeply religious, and the backbone holding the family together. Their kids, JJ, Thelma, and Michael, were growing up in poverty but still had dreams. The show was revolutionary because it didn't romanticize poverty, it showed its harsh reality. But the set wasn't nearly as peaceful as the screen made it look. John Amos, who played James Evans, was constantly clashing with the writers. Amos believed his character was being stripped of dignity and strength. Meanwhile, JJ, played by Jimmy Walker, the comedian famous for yelling "Dynamite," was becoming the center of the show. That infuriated Amos because JJ was seen as a stereotype, the foolish, clownish, childish Black man. Amos wanted the Black father portrayed as strong and responsible, but the producers didn't want to sacrifice comedy. The tension got so intense that John Amos was fired in 1976. The official explanation was creative differences, but the truth was that Amos had become too outspoken on set. His character, James Evans, was killed off, and the family was left without a father. The decision shocked audiences, and many critics argued that killing off a Black father only reinforced the very stereotype the show claimed to challenge. Esther Roll, who played Florida, also disliked how the JJ character was taking over, and even left the show for a while, until financial reality forced her to return. Jimmy Walker became famous for Dynamite, but that fame became a curse. After the show ended, Walker couldn't land serious roles because everyone only saw him as JJ. He returned to stand-up comedy, but never reached his old peak again. He's still alive today and occasionally appears at nostalgia events, but when people hear his name, most still shout "Dynamite." The fame locked him into a single role, and everything else disappeared into history. Janet Jackson played Little Penny on the show. It was one of her earliest TV roles. After Good Times, she shifted into music and became a global megastar. But the rest of the cast wasn't as lucky. Some vanished from the industry completely. Others survived on small roles. When Good Times ended, the golden era ended for most of them, too. Even before Good Times, Sanford and Son had already sparked a TV revolution in 1972. Redd Foxx played Fred Sanford, an older junk dealer constantly arguing with his son Lamont. The show brought Black humor into the mainstream, and Foxx was already a Las Vegas comedy legend. Known for dirty, crude, uncensored performances, Foxx had to play a softer version of himself on television, yet he still pushed boundaries. Redd Foxx's real life became an American tragedy. He earned millions on television, but his finances were a disaster. In 1989, the IRS raided his house over unpaid taxes and seized almost everything. Furniture, cars, personal belongings, auctioned off. Foxx went bankrupt and spent the rest of his life buried in debt. A man who had once been one of America's richest comedians ended up with almost nothing. Things weren't easy on set either. Demond Wilson, who played Lamont, had constant tension with Foxx. Foxx was a comedy legend and looked down on Wilson. Their chemistry worked on camera, but off camera, they barely spoke. Wilson wanted more money and recognition, but he always lived in Foxx's shadow. Then in 1991, during rehearsals for a new show, Redd Foxx suffered a real heart attack. The cruel irony was that Fred Foxx was famous for fake heart attacks, so when Foxx collapsed, the crew laughed. They thought he was joking. Minutes later, they realized it was real, but it was too late. Redd Foxx died at 68 years old on set, while people were laughing. A tragic irony, the comedian made people laugh even as he died. Eddie Cosby paid for Foxx's funeral because Foxx had no money. An old legend died broke, and a new legend paid the bill. Foxx's influence was massive. Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle, Richard Pryor, and many others walked the path he helped create. But Foxx's own life became a warning. Fame and wealth, if mismanaged, can end in catastrophe. In the 1980s, The Cosby Show changed television history. Bill Cosby played Dr. Cliff Huxtable, a successful doctor and father of 5. His wife, Claire, was a successful attorney. The Huxtables were wealthy, educated, functional, and loving. The show challenged the idea that black families could only be shown as poor and struggling. Middle-class black life became visible on TV, and that was revolutionary. The Cosby Show was the most-watched show of the 1980s. For 8 seasons, it sat at the top of NBC. Bill Cosby became America's dad. He represented family values, education, and warm parenting. But that image was built on a lie. Starting in the mid-2000s, women began accusing Cosby of sexual assault. 1 woman, then 5, then 10, then 50. The stories were consistent. Cosby drugged women and assaulted them while they were unconscious. In 2018, he was convicted of sexual assault and sent to prison. In 2021, he was released due to a legal technicality, but the accusations and the conviction were real. The cast was shattered. Felicia Rashad, who played Claire, defended Cosby and blamed the victims, which damaged her career and sparked public outrage. Malcolm Jamal Warner, Theo, stayed quiet and kept his distance. Tempest Bledsoe, Vanessa, expressed mixed emotions. Cosby had mentored her, but the allegations were horrifying.
Lisa Bonet, who played Denise, left early and moved into the spin-off A Different World. Over time, rumors grew that her exit was tied to tension with Cosby. Bonet never spoke publicly, but the timing raised questions. Did she know Cosby's dark side? Was she trying to get away? Today, The Cosby Show is largely absent from mainstream airing. Its legacy has been destroyed. What was once a source of pride for black families became a source of shame. Nostalgic viewers are split. Some argue you can separate art from the artist, while others believe Cosby's crimes poisoned everything and made the show impossible to watch. In 1992, Martin arrived and defined a new voice in 1990s black comedy. Martin Lawrence played Martin Payne, a radio DJ, loud, chaotic, high energy. Gina, played by Tisha Campbell, tried to balance Martin's chaos. The show was raw, unfiltered, and unbelievably funny. Lawrence's physical comedy and his multiple characters, Shanae, Jerome, Mama Payne, became iconic. But behind the scenes, things were ugly. Tisha Campbell accused Martin Lawrence of sexual harassment. She claimed he made inappropriate comments, behaved physically in disturbing ways, and created a threatening work environment. In 1997, Campbell filed a lawsuit, and during the final season, Martin and Gina never appeared in scenes together. Scenes were filmed separately and edited together. Viewers noticed, but they didn't know the full story. The lawsuit ended in a settlement. Details stayed confidential, but the damage was done. Martin ended in 1997 and the cast scattered. Martin Lawrence moved toward film success with Bad Boys, but his personal life spiraled. In 1996, he suffered a psychological breakdown, running in the streets with a gun before being hospitalized. The dark side of Hollywood fame was crushing him. Tisha Campbell went on to other roles like My Wife and Kids, but Martin always followed her. Tichina Arnold, Pam, kept working steadily and later found major success on Everybody Hates Chris. Thomas McCall Ford, Tommy, died in 2016 at 52. Carl Anthony Payne II, Cole, continued appearing in smaller roles. For modern audiences, Martin is complicated. Many jokes feel sexist, homophobic, or aggressive by today's standards, but in the 1990s, that was considered normal. The show reflected its time, loud, crude, and boundary-pushing. Today, Martin exists as both a cult classic and a controversial legacy. In 1993, Living Single debuted and put black women at the center. 6 friends in Brooklyn navigated careers, relationships, and friendship. Queen Latifah played Khadijah, a magazine editor and the group's leader. Kim Coles, Kim Fields, Erica Alexander, and others portrayed strong, independent, hilarious women. In many ways, Living Single came before Friends. Both shows focused on young adults, friendship, and city life, but Living Single began in 1993, Friends in 1994. Many people argue Friends was inspired by Living Single, but Friends became a cultural phenomenon and a mainstream icon, while Living Single was mainly remembered by Black audiences. Why? The answer is simple: racism and marketing. Living Single aired on Foxx at first and later became part of smaller network structures, while Friends was on NBC, a major network. Friends had bigger budgets, bigger promotion, and broader mainstream access. A white cast was considered more universal for mainstream America. A Black cast was treated like a niche market. Living Single ended in 1998 and the cast moved on. Queen Latifah became hugely successful in music and film. Kim Fields was already known from The Facts of Life and later transitioned into directing. Others were less fortunate. Erica Alexander kept working but never landed a breakout moment. Today, Living Single is being rediscovered. Streaming has introduced it to new viewers, and young Black women embrace it as a show where they finally see themselves. But it never received the recognition it deserved in the 1990s. In 1989, Family Matters began, originally centered on the Winslow family. Carl Winslow was a Chicago cop with a warm, family-focused sitcom tone. But in the first season, the nerdy neighbor kid Steve Urkel appeared, and everything changed. Urkel, played by Jaleel White, was awkward, high pants, big glasses, and deeply in love with Laura Winslow. He was supposed to be a one-off side character, but audiences loved him so much that he became the center of the show. Jaleel White became a star overnight. "Did I do that?" became a national catchphrase. But success destroyed him. Urkel became so dominant that White couldn't escape the role. Casting directors only saw Urkel. When the show ended in 1998, White's career struggled. He tried adult roles, but few took him seriously. The Urkel curse followed him. Reginald VelJohnson, who played Carl Winslow, also became trapped in Urkel's shadow. When the show started, VelJohnson was the lead. Eventually, he became the straight man reacting to Urkel. He appeared in films like Die Hard, but on TV, he was remembered as Urkel's dad. Family Matters ran 9 seasons and became increasingly absurd. Urkel built inventions, created clones, traveled through time, and the show drifted into sci-fi nonsense. It lost the realism of its early seasons and turned into The Urkel Show. Eventually, audiences burned out and the show was canceled. In 1990, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air premiered and made Will Smith a superstar. Smith played a street-smart kid from Philadelphia sent to live with their wealthy relatives in Bel-Air. Culture clash, class tension, and family dynamics drove the comedy. Smith's charisma, humor, and music background, DJ Jazzy Jeff, made the show an instant hit. But behind the scenes, there was tension. Janet Hubert, the original Aunt Viv, had serious conflict with Will Smith. Hubert complained of Smith's unprofessionalism, growing ego, and desire for control. Smith viewed Hubert as difficult and uncooperative. After season 3, Hubert was fired, and Daphne Maxwell Reid took over. Janet Hubert stayed angry for decades. She publicly criticized Smith in interviews and blamed him for ruining her career. After her firing, Hubert struggled to find major roles and was effectively pushed out of Hollywood. In 2020, during the Fresh Prince 30th anniversary reunion, Hubert and Smith finally confronted each other, talked, and made peace. Both cried, apologized, and let the past go. Fresh Prince ended in 1996, and Will Smith became one of Hollywood's biggest stars. Men in Black, Independence Day, Ali, The Pursuit of Happiness. Alfonso Ribeiro, Carlton, won Dancing with the Stars and hosted America's Funniest Home Videos. Tatiana Ali, Ashley, succeeded in music and acting. Karen Parsons, Hillary, stepped away and focused on educational work for children. Fresh Prince is still watched today. It still generates memes. It remains a cultural icon. Even Will Smith's 2022 Oscars slap couldn't erase the show's legacy. It was the peak of 1990s Black television. So why don't we have shows like this today? Why don't modern Black sitcoms create the same cultural impact? The answer is complicated. First, viewing habits changed. In the 1990s, everyone watched the same shows at the same time. Wednesday nights, people watched Fresh Prince, and the next day, everyone talked about the same episode. That shared cultural experience disappeared in the streaming era. Now, people watch different shows on different platforms at different times. There's no unified moment. Shows can go viral, but not in the same way. Modern series like Insecure, Atlanta, and Blackish are excellent and successful, but there's no cultural domination. Everyone consumes content in separate corners. Second, there's simply too much content. In the 1990s, choices were limited: 3 major networks and a few cable channels. Today, there are hundreds of platforms and thousands of shows. The audience is scattered. It's almost impossible for one sitcom to dominate like before. Third, cultural politics shifted. 1990s sitcoms could be politically incorrect without being canceled. Today, every word is examined. Martin couldn't be made today. Some jokes in Fresh Prince wouldn't be acceptable now. Creators are more cautious, and caution limits creativity. Fourth, the business model changed. In the 1990s, sitcoms were extremely profitable. Advertising revenue was high, and syndication deals were massive. Today, sitcoms are less financially attractive. Drama and reality TV can be cheaper and more profitable. And finally, maybe most importantly, 1990s black sitcoms captured a specific cultural moment. Hip-hop was rising, the black middle class was expanding. There was a sense of optimism. Today, that optimism has eroded. Mass incarceration, police violence, economic inequality, the pandemic, everything changed the cultural mood. Comedy still exists, but it's different. Darker, more cynical, more fragile. Good Times showed poverty but offered hope. The Cosby Show showed success, but it was built on lies. Martin was wild comedy, but built around harassment. Living Single celebrated black women, but was ignored. Family Matters became a prison built around one character. Fresh Prince created stars, but also created lifelong feuds. The legacy of these shows is complicated. On screen, they gave generations nostalgia, laughter, and representation. Behind the scenes, exploitation, abuse, and tragedy. Cast members found fame, but many did not find happiness. Some died, some went bankrupt, some were forgotten. Red Fox died on set while people laughed. John Amos was fired for standing on principle. Jimmy Walker became the prisoner of a single catchphrase. Bill Cosby became America's dad, and then was exposed as a predator. Tisha Campbell was harassed, and she was the one.
From the 1970s to the 1990s, black sitcoms enjoyed a golden age in television history. Good Times offered hope amid poverty, but John Amos was fired for his principled stance. Red Fox made America laugh in Sanford and Son. Then the IRS raided his home, and he died of a heart attack on set. Everyone thought it was a joke. The Cosby Show represented black excellence, but Bill Cosby was exposed as a rapist, and the legacy was destroyed. Martin became a cult comedy, but Tisha Campbell filed a harassment lawsuit, and the casts didn't get along. Living Single came before Friends, but was overlooked. In Family Matters, Steve Urkel ruined Jaleel White. No one saw him in another role. The Fresh Prince made Will Smith a superstar, but Janet Hubert was fired, and the animosity lasted for years. These shows are nostalgia for generations, but behind the scenes there was scandal, tragedy, harassment, and death. Why don't modern black sitcoms have the same impact? The streaming era, audience fragmentation, cancel culture, economic models, the golden age won't return. The full story of these 5 legendary shows: bright screens, dark realities.